Joined by Jim Moriarty. He's a former U.S. ambassador to Nepal. Jim is currently part of Bauer Group Asia, a business advisory group. Ambassador, welcome to our program.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm sorry to be here under these circumstances.
Yeah, we are too. Well, you certainly know the area well. You know the region, you know the culture, you know people there. What are you hearing from them about the situation on the ground?
Well, most of my friends in Kathmandu avoided any sort of injury. They all managed to get out of their houses, but their houses are either destroyed or in such bad shape that they don't want to move back in. So they're among the thousands, tens of thousands of people in Kathmandu sleeping out in the open under tents. So it's rough for them, but they're still alive, thank God.
Ambassador Moriarty, this is a country in desperate need of help, but there's clearly a logistical nightmare here, getting the aid to the people who need it most because of this destroyed infrastructure.
Your report did a good job laying out the core problem, which is you're talking about a country that is the size of Iowa with almost 30 million people, almost half of them living among the hills and the mountains. What does that mean? You have people who are 3 to 4 days walk at the best of times from the nearest thing resembling a road. And right now, most of those things resembling roads are not in very good shape at all. So even at the best of times, getting assistance out into the rural, isolated areas of Nepal is extremely tough. And obviously, this is the worst of times.
The staggering devastation, the climbing casualty numbers, how much of that do you blame? I don't want to use the word blame, but perhaps it played a role in the massive destruction we're seeing. And I'm talking about the shoddy buildings, the infrastructure of how some of these structures were put together.
Well, you know, Kathmandu is a city whose population probably trebled over the past 15 or 20 years. And the government had very little control over the new houses springing up all over the capital city. Out in the countryside, meanwhile, you've seen the pictures. Most of these houses are not what we would call permanent structures. You know, they're made out of whatever material comes to hand, mud bricks largely. So it's, yeah, in a way it was a disaster waiting to happen that many experts have predicted, but now it has arrived.
And your concerns in the days, in the weeks to come, and I understand the monsoon season is right around the corner, that's not going to make things better.
My immediate concern, of course, is the relief of people who've been hit hard, but you've nailed it on the head. Basically, 5 or 6 weeks, the rains are going to become more or less constant. And if you don't have shelter and food chains set up by then, you could have large-scale disaster, particularly in the hills.
And is there a way Nepal can prepare for the next one?
Well, you know, I mean, I would hope that by the time the next really, really big one hits, building standards would have improved, road networks would have been more complete. But frankly, there is nothing that can help a very poor country avoid massive casualties in a situation like this. Don't forget the per capita income there is still well under $1,000 a year.